Hey guys, welcome to the 20s Experiment podcast, where we talk about the experiment on how 20-year-olds have faced life's challenges and their perception on life. I am your host, Zach Warner. This podcast is an experiment, obviously, and my whole life has felt like an experiment. From the time that my parents had gotten divorced, which is when I was just a baby. I was fortunate enough, though, to have amazing brothers and sisters that have helped me along the way and have been able to teach me several things. My dad had traveled around the world and he is a very successful man. He has owned very different types of businesses, whether it's plumbing to real estate. I also myself have a business. It is a pressure washing and painting business. It is called ZWPW LLC. A lot of people say ZWPW Pew 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 as a joke, but it stands for Zach Warner's Pressure Washing. And I have been very, very passionate about it for the past couple years and has been able to shape me into who I am today. I have met thousands of people who have helped me along the way with it as well. It has been a big, big part of my life. I was afraid of being alone for a long time during my business. I honestly did not know how to measure the business at all. Didn't know if I was doing the right things. Didn't know if I was meeting the right people. Sometimes I'd find myself stuck in the middle of Atlanta, underground, where rats be crawling everywhere, and I was scared. And also wasn't able to carry a weapon, aka a gun. And so for a long time, I had to learn to face my fears and to realize that life is all an experiment. I also work at the Home Depot. I've been working there since March 19th, 2024. It is a lot of fun. Sometimes you got to deal with angry customers. You got to deal with people who just don't want to, deal with you. And I don't want to deal with them either. So it has been a long, crazy 2 months as well, but I love it. I love it with all my heart as well. But I am also 20 years old. I'm still trying to figure out life. I have been very, very passionate about this podcast. And for a long time, I didn't know whether to start a podcast or not. A lot of my friends and we wanted to start one, but we honestly never did. And honestly, I don't even know why we never did, because we could have done very, very good at it. And we'll have them on as well. This will be a 1v1 podcast, so there will be two people on here the majority of the time. Sometimes there will be just me. Sometimes there will be just me and Sarah. Sometimes there might be even 6 people on here at one point as well. So just tune in and lock in. And I am very excited for this journey. I've been wanting to do this for a couple years. And the reason why I never did it was because I was afraid of how people would think about me and what if they would judge me, where this would go, all that nonsense. And I really, really felt a passion for helping people and to help people feel like they're not alone and that being in your 20s can be a hard time. There's people that are our ages that are having kids and buying houses, and they seem like they have it all figured out. And there's some people who are just still in college and still have no idea what they want to do. And there's people like me who own a business, who also work at Home Depot, who is now to be an owner of a podcast, who is still trying to figure everything out. So I have had a very, very hard time trying to figure it out. And honestly, I don't think I'll ever figure it out. I don't think I'll ever figure life out. And I feel like God has taught me that. And has taught me just to kind of go with the flow in a way and to follow my dreams. And I feel like He's going to help guide me in a way. And I started my business in 2021, right after high school. I worked for my stepdad, though, for about 6 months until I realized that I wanted to go out there and start a business. My dad really, really helped me figure out why I wanted to start a business and how to start a business. It was a very cool experience being 18 years old and owning a company for the very first time. It was also one of the scariest moments of my life. reaching out to people, and honestly just winging it. I had some experience with painting and I had some experience with pressure washing, but I didn't really have a lot of experience. I had done it some here and there, but honestly, I was just winging it. Sometimes I'd be watching YouTube videos in the middle of a job, just trying to figure it all out. But I made it. I was able to make it through those jobs. I was able to, make money and figure it out. And honestly, it was one of the hardest things I have ever done. And a lot of times I go back and forth on if I should keep on going at it or not, or if I should just stay at Home Depot. And that's where I'm at right now. And that's kind of where I'm stuck at. Is do I stay at a 9 to 5 with guaranteed income, or do I do both? As both might seem like the answer right now, because I'm making guaranteed income while building a business, and also while trying to make a really good podcast. This is all an experiment, though. To experiment with my jobs, to experiment with my relationship with Sarah, who is also my fiance, by the way. Forgot to mention that earlier. But she has been a very, very good woman to me. I love her to death. She's my rock, like I've said in the other podcast that I was in. Me and her go back to September 6th, 2019. I asked her, and I was like, hey, will you be my girlfriend on a Friday night under the football lights? And it just started from there. Honestly, I had no idea where it was going to go. I had no clue. I figured she would already leave me by now. But she never did, honestly. And it has been one crazy ride. You guys will be able to also listen to her, and she will be introducing herself on the next couple of podcasts that she will be in. I am very, very excited to see where we are going to go. I proposed to her, not engaged her, silly goose. I proposed to her. It was on June 6, 2023, on the day that I proposed to her. I only had about 15 minutes to be able to make it up that big giant mountain at the beautiful place in South Carolina. But we made it, and the reason why we had to speed up was because they had a wedding that was about to start in 15 minutes. So I was just driving my big old truck up there, speeding, and she looked at me and she's like, why are you speeding so much? Slow down. And it was this big, windy mountain, and she had no idea why I was speeding, but I was over there stressing like a madman. I was like, man, dude, if I don't propose to her here, where else am I going to propose to her at? Because that was my plan all along. I had planned this for like 6 months ahead anyways, and she was so confused, and it was so funny to see the look on her face, and the look of excitement and the look of shock. And that's what excited me, and that's how I knew that I had got her. Because usually she knows exactly when I'm going to do something, and I'm probably screwed for the rest of my life. That's probably going to be the only surprise that I'm going to be able to do. Because she's going to be able to figure out any other surprise that I'm going to try to do, whether it's on an anniversary, birthdays, anytime. It's going to be really hard to get her to not know. But yeah, it was a crazy experience, and I will never forget it. I will never forget that day. And I had it in the back of my pocket, and it was No, actually, I was gonna put it in the back of my pocket, but she was gonna figure it out because it was so uncomfortable. I didn't want to sit on it, because it's about like an hour drive, and so that hour drive, I did not want to sit on her ring, obviously. So I put it in my boots, and my boots were sticking out on the side like crazy, and I was sweating, but we were able to make it, and I was able to get down on one knee, and she said yes. She still had her sunglasses on, which I thought was hilarious because I forgot to tell her to take it off. But it was an amazing time, and I love her to death. And she is my now fiancé, as I like to call it. Me and Sarah have been trying to save up for a house for a while now. We've been working towards that for a good couple years now. And We now have a dog. Her name is Maple, and I love her to death. Maple has had a big impact on my life. She is a German Shepherd. She's about to turn 2 in September. The crazy twos are about to come, as I say. Even though she's just a dog can really build a human, I guess you would say. Really, she has really built me into who I am today. And she's taught me patience. She's taught me love. She's taught me to be happy, even in the bad times. Honestly, when I yell at her, she doesn't really ever get upset, which is kind of been a concern thing. But it's also taught me to learn that no matter how bad things can get, she's always loved me, and that unconditional love with the dog is just something that you just can't break. And it's kind of nice because I didn't know that I could love something so much, and I feel like this has helped me become a father in my future. I feel like she has helped me to learn patience with just a dog, and to learn patience with eventually having a child. But she's crazy. She is a crazy little bunch. She has all the energy in the world. She won't stop running everywhere. But she's been able to teach me a lot of things in my 20s, and so has Sarah. Moving on to my mom. My mom has been a very, very big light to me in a way. She's taught me to lean towards God. She taught me how to find God and how to pray. And she's been a big role model in that. And me and my mom have been through a lot together, but I love her to death. And she has also been through a lot. She did go through a lot. I'm not going to touch into that because I don't want to get into her business too much, but we have both been through a lot, and it has been a very, very joyful ride, though. I also have a great friend group. They will be on here. They have been a really good second family to me. That's what I always call them, is a good second family. They're always people who I can lean on, who I know that can be honest with me about certain things, because I did drink a lot last year, and I did go through a big phase with that, and I was addicted to it for a good little while, and it wasn't healthy, and I wasn't leaning towards God as I should have been, and I kind of regret it in a way, but it has helped me grow into who I am today. I am completely sober now. I've been sober for a long time, and my friends were always honest with me on, like, why are you drinking? It's not leading you anywhere. And for a while I just kind of ignored them. I know that sounds really rude to say, but I honestly just did. And just trying to experiment with certain things. And I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know where the drinking was going to go. And obviously it didn't go anywhere. It didn't help me. It caused a lot of depression and anxiety, honestly. And I think sometimes it made me suicidal. Just being honest. And I've seen it tear down a lot of people. I've seen alcohol tear down a lot of people in their 20s. I feel like that's also a big issue in today's world. And I still like to have fun. I still like to dance. I love to dance. I've always loved dancing. Not many people do in my age group, but it's hard to find people who like to dance for some reason. But that was one of my biggest things that I like to do, is I just love to dance no matter where I'm at. It has been a really fun thing that I enjoy. And so is podcasting. Podcasting has been, I listen to all kinds of podcasts all the time. Something about getting to know somebody, and something about feeling like you're there on the podcast. That's what I kind of want people to feel like they're here as well with me, talking to me and relating to me and seeing everything that I kind of see. But this introduction was not easy to make. It was honestly really hard because I kept on second guessing myself on if I should start this podcast or not still. Even though I had just bought the mic, I got everything set up, and I got a big stage fright because I just don't know what people would think. And I'm still stuck on that, and I struggle with that every single day. Honestly, it is hard just talking to myself and not being able to ask another person right in front of me questions and just starting off on myself. I didn't know if I should talk about myself too much, if I should talk about the podcast too much, or if I should talk about any specific topic too much. But honestly, this is going to be my first one all by myself. It's not easy, but I'm very, very proud that I was able to face my fears and I was able to do this, and that I will have the confidence to be able to publish it and not really care what anybody else will think. So thank you guys so much for listening. We will be having some guests on this podcast very, very soon, hopefully. We will get this uploaded on Spotify, hopefully, YouTube maybe, and a couple other platforms maybe. But I want it to at least be on Spotify for now until I can, branch out and get more people on it. The 20s Experiment, again, is an experiment about 20-year-olds and their day-to-day lives and what they're going through and what's their perception on life. I really, really want to that's something that I have been very, very passionate about, and I really, really want to get more people on here and to see what they think we're supposed to do in our 20s. Obviously, you don't have to be 20 years old to listen to this, and you don't have to be 20 years old to join this podcast. I will probably have my father on this podcast one day. I will probably have people who are in their 70s and 80s on this podcast one day. But I'm very, very thankful for all of you listening. And I'm very thankful for the life that I've already lived. And I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. But that's enough about talking about me for the day. And that is enough for the intro. We will be having tears on this podcast. We'll be having a bunch of laughs, some debates, some people yelling at each other, cussing at each other. Who knows? But I am very excited to see where this goes. Thank you all, and welcome to the 20s Experiment podcast. I am your host, Zach Warner.